and now I'm ready to start recording. So this will screen record whatever I do here. So what I'm doing here is I got a blank Word document out, and I just put MS Word Draw Tools at the top. Now I do have some assignment information on the Google Classroom. I may do things a little different order, but it's all going to be the same basically. Okay, when I talk about Draw Tools, what I'm talking about is what we're going to start with is we're going to go to the Insert menu, which there's two Insert menus. There's one way up here, and there's one right here. It's like a toolbar. So maybe it's better I call it the Insert toolbar. Everybody with me? So click on the Insert toolbar.
We can't see what's happening.
Oh, sorry about that. I forgot to change my projector. I'm sitting here looking at my screen. Okay, let's a little back to square one here. Put something like Word Draw Tools. I put MS Word Draw Tools. Either one's okay. At the top. Put a number 1 and a period because we're going to have little categories here. We're going to do things. Now I talked about there's Insert Toolbar right here, and there's Insert Menu up here. If I say Menu, I'm going to mean up here. If I say Toolbar, I'm going to mean down here. Normally you're on the Home toolbar. So the Home toolbar has things like your fonts, your font size, bold, italic, alignments, things like that. And we'll return to this and talk more about this in the future. Right now we're going to click on Insert Toolbar. Now the Insert Toolbar on the left starts with, do you want to insert a new page? We're not going to do that. Do you want to insert a table? We'll cover tables another time in the future. Do you want to insert a picture? We'll revisit that. Now what we're going to do first is we're going to go to Shapes. Okay, this here is called Shapes. It's under the Insert Toolbar. And there's various categories of shapes. We have lines, we have rectangles, we have basic shapes, and we have arrows. Okay, and you might see a category up top, recently used. Now if you haven't done much with this, you may not have anything there. I've done a lot with it before, so I have a bunch of stuff up there. Okay, but we're going to go under lines, which, by the way, that's going to be our first category. Our first category is going to be lines. So go ahead and type your number 1 there. You might have to click out of the shapes and then put lines. Now we're going to do several things here. We're going to go under shapes here. Go to the first line, which is a straight line. That's just your standard old line. For those that remember from math class, what's the definition of a line? Anybody remember? The shortest distance between 2 points. Okay? So click on the line, and then your cursor turns into a little plus, and go ahead and drag across and draw just a basic line like that. Now when you let go, it'll have handles on both ends. And you can go to either handle, and you can resize that line. You can drag it shorter, longer, change the angle of it. Okay, you can click on either handle here to edit your line. Okay, you can have your line slightly crooked and so forth. Now the moment you make a line, leave it selected. Look up above. Your toolbar has now changed. You now have something called Shape Format that popped up. And you got these pre-made lines you can click on here, and there'll be slightly different styles or colors. Okay, everybody with me there?
No, mine's not like that.
Yours isn't like this?
Oh, mine isn't either.
Do you guys got your toolbar out up here?
Yeah.
But when you made a line, it did not bring up shape format? Okay, did any of you deselect your line? The moment you deselect your line, click like that, then it goes away. If you deselected your line, it goes away. So how do you get it back? Click on the line, which might be a little tricky, and once your line's selected, it should come back. Did it come back then? Did you guys get it to work then? You got selected? Okay. Okay, so that is a standard line. You can click up here. They got some pre-made layouts. Now let me show you one other thing while your line's still selected. Go over here a little bit. Go right here in the middle. and pull down here. You could change the color. There's a bunch of stuff here. It's kind of like, this is very important. Because we're going to be coming back to this a lot. Okay, because we're going to do lines on a lot of things, not just a line. Okay, so you pull this down. You can pick a color. Now down here they have weights. A weight is how thick is the line. Do you want a 1/4 point, a 1/2 point, a point, 2 1/4 point, 4 1/4 point, and so on. So you can change the thickness of the line. So go ahead and make it thicker. I'm going to do 4 1/2 or whatever that is. Now there's one line. We're going to make a couple more lines, and we're going to make them all different thicknesses and different colors. So you have to go back to, now I notice I clicked out of it. That line is finished. Okay, I have a color, I have a thickness. Now go back to Insert, then go back to Shapes, and go to the next line, which is an arrow. Okay, draw this one here. Now it'll point the arrow whatever direction you drag in. So if I were to drag from the right to left, it'd point to the left. If I drag from left to right, it'll point to the right. Now we're going to do the same edit options. Go back to that same menu here, probably under the word S and references up here. Pick a different color. So I picked whatever that is, a blue. I'm going to do a green. Then go down to weight and pick a much thicker weight. I'm going to do 6 point all the way down I can do. Now some of you are saying, Mr. Rio, they also got dashes and other arrows down here. Yeah, we'll come back to that. Right now we're just doing weight and color. So do something at least 2 1/4 point, if not thicker, and do weight and color. Then go ahead and go back to Insert, go back to Shapes, go back to Line, and do the double arrow. Okay, there's the double arrow. Then go here and select a different color than you've used already. So this one I'll do a dark blue. Then go back to that same menu, go to weight, and make it something between 2 and 6 point. Okay, so we now have 3 up here. And they all have different weights, they all have different colors. Okay, go back to Insert, go back to Shapes. Now, there's like 8 more different lines. These ones that are various ones here in the middle, elbow connectors and that. Okay, not the last 3, but right now pick one of these kind of elbow connector ones. I don't care which one. I'm going to do that one. And let's see how it works. It comes in something like that. You can do stuff like this with it. Okay, go ahead and give it a color. I'll make mine orange. Make it a bit thicker so you can see it better. Okay, so do one of those ones in the middle. We're not going to do all of them. Just pick one of those. But we're going to do several at the end because those are kind of important. Okay, so you get to see a little variety here. So hopefully you're getting comfortable with different lines, how to get to where lines are, making them different shapes and colors and so forth. Now I'll go to Insert again. Go back to Shapes. Now the last 3 here under lines, they have a curve, they have a freeform, and they have a scribble. We're going to do all 3 of those. So let's start with the curve. Click on the curve. This is a little bit tricky. So you start with something like this. Then here's what you do. You drag like this, let go of the mouse, then continue around, click. Every time you click, you can change direction. See, I'm clicking and then I change direction. Like that. See that? Now, when you get to where you want to stop, like I'm going to do now, double click, and it should make a box around it. Okay? Then you can go ahead and... Now, mine allowed a fill. A fill is where you can fill in areas that are completely covered in. So I clicked on fill. I'm going to go put a line around the outside of it. I'll do a purple line. And then you can make that line a little thicker if you'd like. So that's kind of a unique thing I was able to make with that tool. You know, the fill is optional on this one. This is not normally something we fill. We normally fill like a rectangle or a circle or a triangle, but you can do a fill on this one. Yeah, but right now we're just doing a few basic things. Now go back to insert, go back to your shapes, go back to lines. Now we're going to do the second from the last one, which is called freeform. What is freeform? You click on it, you bring your cursor down. I'm going to write my last name, which is really short. So I'm going to do this here, and I can literally write. Now as soon as I let go of my mouse, I did that all with my mouse button held down. The moment I let go of the mouse button, it actually turns into this thing, which then I can double click to finish it. Now that's not perfect. You know, I'm not expecting perfection. We're just trying these things out. But try to draw something. Doesn't have to be your name, but draw a little something. And then when you let go at first, you can pull a line if you want. And when you're done with whatever you draw, just double click. That one, if you want to change the color of the line, go ahead. I'm not going to do that right now just to save time. Then the last one I'm going to demonstrate under shapes is the last one, which is called scribble. Now scribble, as you can imagine, is just kind of like you would imagine. I'm going to try to do my name like this here. Now this is a little more like just like taking out something to write with. And the moment I let go, it's done. Okay, you got to hold down your mouse button, write something. The moment you let go, it's done. Now once that's done, I'm going to go up here to see what I can change. I'm going to give it a different color. I'm going to go to the weight, give it a little more thickness. So it's a little different than the tool before it. Okay, so basically what we just did was on the insert menu under shapes, we just went through and did the line section. We didn't do every single one. If you want to do every single one, go ahead. But we did the 3 at the beginning, the 3 at the end, and at least 1 in the middle. So you got a little idea how some of those work and how they look like. Also, you got to change colors, put them in different colors, change the line colors, change the thickness of the line. So that's important. Now, take a while to guess what our next topic is. Look underneath lines. What does it say? Rectangles, yep. Now, this is what gets a little tricky sometimes. First of all, if you haven't done a save yet, go to File and do a save. You can literally call your Word document Draw Tools. You can save it wherever your Word stuff is. I'm going to call mine Draw Tools S22 because I'm doing it this semester. Okay, now this gets a little tricky. You got two things that get tricky. One thing that gets tricky is getting your cursor underneath all the stuff you just drew. Sometimes you get lucky, you double click and it just pops there. Sometimes a little trickier than that and you got to do it a few more times. Another word to the wise is when you get near the bottom, when you start getting close, I would go ahead and just hit return a number of times and go straight to the next page. Because if you get too close to the bottom, it can be hard to get the cursor underneath it. So, and by the way, this is not something you're going to print out, so don't worry about using up some pages. We're going to take some pages to make this. Okay, so our next one here, number 2, is going to be rectangles. Okay, hit return a couple times after you type number 2 and write the word rectangles. Now we're going to go back to insert, shapes, and now we're going to start. The first one is probably no surprise, is a basic rectangle. So click on that. Your cursor is going to turn to a crosshair. Just literally drag a rectangle like that. Now by default, it's going to probably be a blue fill. I'm not sure if the line around is blue or black, but we're going to edit it either way. Now you're going to get something similar come up in the shape format that comes up. Leave it selected. They got some pre-made layouts here. Like, do you want it orange? You want it kind of gray? You want it more yellow? They got these pre-made ones here. They also got fills, so you can custom fill any color you want here. Right here, it looks like a paint bucket. This is fill right here. And then the line around it, do a different color and do it a little thicker. So a line around this one here, I'm going to do like a maroon color. And then I'm going to go to the weight. and make it a bit thicker. So make a rectangle with a fill color and a different color for the line around it and make the line a little bit thicker. Now you're going to do pretty much the same thing. Now if you take a look across there, there's about 7 other variations of rectangle. The second one over I believe is rounded rectangle, meaning the corners are rounded on it. And then the other ones are various shapes or attempts at 3D. So make a total of 4 rectangles. That includes the first one that you make. So just randomly pick some here. Here, I'll do the rounded one next. I'll drag across here. That just rounds out the edges a little bit. I'll give it a little different fill color. I'll give it a light green. I'll do the line color. I'll make it blue. And then I'll also go to the, they also have gradients and textures and all that. We'll get into that later. But they have a lot of options here. Okay, so that's like a rectangle, but got rounded around the edges. Then there's a couple other more options here for rectangles. Some of them make attempts at looking kind of 3D. Now, for those who don't know, on the rectangle tool, you might say, what if I want a square, Mr. Rio? How do I do a square? I'm going to show you that trick right now. So for a 5th rectangle, well, we're going to have you make a square. So for the 5th one, do your normal insert here on the toolbar. Go to Shapes. Go back to the first rectangle and click on it. Then somewhere you got space, hold down your Shift key. This is important. Hold down the Shift key, then drag it, and you will get a perfect square. Okay, now mine up front may not look 100% perfect because the screen gets distorted from the projector, but it is a perfect square. If you hold down the Shift key while you drag out using the rectangle tool, you will get a perfect square. And then go ahead and pick a style and a fill and line and all that stuff. So you should have a total of 5. You got a basic rectangle, you got 3 other ones that are not a square, and then you got a square. And a square is done by selecting the rectangle tool and holding the Shift key while you drag out a perfect square. Okay, and then, so you're learning about fills, you're learning about lines, you're learning about rectangles. Now I'm getting near the bottom of my page, so I'm going to purposely hit return, get my cursor down on the next page, and we're going to do the next one, which is number 3. And if you go to Insert and go to Shapes, the next category is called Basic Shapes. Now we're getting to where you have a bit more know-how. You've gotten used to it a bit, hopefully by now. You know how to edit fills, you know how to edit the lines, you know how to make the lines thicker. So I think now you're ready to have a little more flexibility. Under basic shapes, you have all kinds of stuff. You have the circle, okay? You have a triangle. We'll start with a circle and a triangle. So we'll go to the circle first. If you want to get really technical, it's an oval. So if I just drag it, it's going to be like an oval, like that. Okay? And you could edit that, do your fills and all that kind of good stuff right there, you know. So that is a basic shape. I mean, that's an oval. Now if I go back to Insert, make an oval, then we're going to make a perfect circle. And you probably figured out a perfect circle is going to be an oval holding down the Shift key. So go to Shapes, select the circle, which is the second one in. It's technically called an oval on the basic shapes. Now hold down the Shift key and you will drag a perfect circle. Then give it a fill, color, style, so on. Okay? Then we're going to do a triangle. So we'll click on Insert, Shapes, triangle. Now you go up here to the fill, pick a color, pick a line around it. Change the weights of the line on it so they're a bit thicker and have them be a different color. I'm going to change the weight on this one line so it looks a little better. And today we get out here at 10:02, I believe.
We have a break today?
No, we don't do a break on these days. They're short days. Okay, so what are we doing here? You are... Okay, I'm going to turn you guys loose here. Okay, I want you to do an oval, a circle, which is holding down the shift key with an oval, and a triangle, because those are still kind of basic shapes. Now, if you look at the rest of basic shapes, guess what? There's all kind of stuff there. So do, let's see, we've got 3 already done, do 7 more. So you have a total of 10. You can do more than that, but at least 7 more. Now you can kind of randomly go through and do different ones of the ones that are left. We're talking basic shapes here. Then when you're done with doing 7 more, I'm going to put here oval, circle, triangle, plus 7 more. Then when you get to the last one there, of these here, okay, number 4 is going to be block arrows. Okay, so make at least 7 with various fill colors and line colors and weights. And then up here, we did make at least 6 rectangles, including a square with different colors and weights of lines. And here we did do the line tool options, change colors and weights. And I'm going to make this here a little bit. I'm going to go back to home here, make this here a little bit bigger, make it bold. May as well give it a cooler color. Then do an update save. So we got lines, we got rectangles. Okay, we've got basic shapes, oval, circle, triangles, etc. And we have block arrows. I'm going to come around and see how you guys are doing. So that's an introduction to some of these tools. So I'm going to come around and see how you guys are doing on them right now. I'm also going to cut this part of the